So I want to talk to you a minute about proper breathing during exercise. Probably a topic that's been beaten to death a billion times already. The fact is that when we're doing weight training and we're exercising and we're doing it with great exertion, performing repetitions of something that requires a tremendous amount of our effort, whether it be a bench press, a squat, a curl, and so on, we're told that you breathe out during exertion. So you exhale during the hardest part of the movement. Now, there's a reason why we do that. If you're under great stress and your muscles are under great load and you find yourself holding your breath while you're performing the movement, breathing out on exertion is important because it releases all of that interthoracic pressure that we've accumulated when we hold it in and we squeeze. That can create a lot of problems, especially for people that have high blood pressure or are predisposed to having high blood pressure at certain times of day. So breathing out on exertion really helps us relieve all of that pressure and lets off the steam and keeps us from falling into any issues that might happen as a result of that. Now, a more preferred way to breathe would be to keep your core engaged the entire time. This is something that a lot of you have probably heard me talk about already, but every exercise is a core exercise, and if you're doing a specific movement for the core, you're leaving at least half of those muscles unaffected by the movement, which creates an imbalance. That's a story for another day, a very long story for another day. But keeping your core engaged so this way you've got the control to breathe regularly through the movement is a more preferable way to do that exercise. Making sure that we're in full control of our systems and in full control of our core and our body. You'll find that holding your posture in the way that allows us to keep the core tight and everything engaged from our knees to our shoulders, in keeping all of that tight, not only do you feel solid as a rock, but you're able to breathe without reaching a peak of having to hold your breath and then let off the steam and having to breathe through exertion. Another issue, speaking of, that we fall into, particularly with less experienced exercisers, is they take the notion of breathing out on exertion and they do it for every single rep that's submaximal, every single rep that doesn't require a change in restful breathing pattern anyway. They artificially hyperventilate, and that raises the oxygen level in their blood. Doesn't necessarily raise the oxygen level the oxygen that their body is absorbing from the blood. It changes the oxygen level in the blood and it increases it, thereby decreasing the level of carbon dioxide in the blood. The problem that causes is that if you don't have sufficient levels of carbon dioxide in the blood, your body's not going to absorb the oxygen that it's got circulating. So without the presence of carbon dioxide, your body can't use oxygen. So keeping that proper breathing and preventing ourselves from reaching an excess of oxygen in the blood will allow our bodies to maintain that homeostatic pressure of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the blood and utilize the tissues effectively. Breathing in through the nose is always preferred. Breathing out on exertion is also always preferred, so long as that breathing out on exertion is the only other option besides holding your breath and squeezing as hard as you can. So if you're a newer exerciser or you're really focused on doing everything right as you build up your speed and become a more avid and involved fitness enthusiast, then what you can do is make sure that you're breathing at a restful pace. Ideally in through the nose, out through the nose, but you're breathing at a restful pace. When you feel the need to hold your breath while you're inducing a tremendous amount of stress and tension in the muscles, then breathe out on exertion deliberately so that way you don't end up holding your breath during the exercise. That's important. There's no better way to do that for most people. Secondarily, when we're running and we're doing cardio, breathing through the nose is absolutely favorable compared to breathing in and out through the mouth. We lose 42% more water from our bodies as we breathe out through the mouths because we're not letting the sinuses really recapture that energy and recapture the resources that it used to condition and hydrate that air as we breathed it in. So breathing out through the mouth actually dries out the upper airways and dries out the lungs as well. that causes a problem, especially if you're not breathing in through your nose. Because if you're not breathing in through your nose, then you're not taking advantage of the nitric oxide that our sinuses naturally produce. If you do cardio, whether you run, you do the stairs, you do the elliptical, and you find that your mouth is dry, it's because you're not nose breathing. Start nose breathing. It's going to be uncomfortable for some people if you're not used to it, because we've got to change the way that we hold our bodies, and we've got to change our posture in order to accommodate a breath coming from our belly and our lower rib cage as opposed to coming from our chest. So that also has some good benefits, because now we're standing upright and we're holding things a little bit tighter and under control. But breathing out through the nose is going to keep your mouth from getting dry. Your mouth getting dry is a preliminary sign of dehydration, so you want to pay attention to that. But what also does is it slows our breathing down during cardio. And we want to slow our breathing down during cardio. Even under great stress and even under great load, we want our breathing to maintain as much of a restful and calm breathing pace as we can manage. It takes a certain level of carbon dioxide tolerance to achieve the different levels of intensity. But that's trainable. We can condition that, much like we can condition our tolerance to air temperature. Some people are cold at 62 degrees. Some people are cold at 51 degrees. Some people have a high sensitivity to carbon dioxide, and they find that they have to breathe rapidly rather quickly in order to recover what their body thinks they're losing. And some people can maintain a restful breathing pace even when their heart rate is elevated, and elevated pretty high. A lot of people can maintain that nose breathing, and that's preferable for many different reasons, not least of which the hydration and the nitric oxide that I mentioned. Nitric oxide, what it also does is it's a vasodilator. It increases the distribution of oxygen in our lungs, increases our body's ability to absorb that oxygen. But what it also does is it allows our body to distribute that oxygen in all of the right ways in all of the right places. So we want to be able to take advantage of all that. And these aren't hacks, these aren't tricks, these aren't things that we've discovered. These are things that, much like swimming, we're born with the innate knowledge of knowing how to do these things, and we practice them when we've got the opportunity. When you're a kid, you're always breathing. But as we get older, for some reason, many of us lose the instinctual drive to breathe properly. Humans are the only mammal that walks the face of the earth that habitually mouth breathes for whatever reason. But if you notice and you look out into the wild, every other mammal out there only breathes through their mouth when they're under great stress, they're tremendously fatigued, they're sick, or they're dying. Everything breathes with its mouth closed. The mouth is not a breathing organ. The nose is a breathing organ. So take that and extrapolate that into your cardio. You want your cardio to last. You want it to be manageable. You want to be able to endure it and utilize that stress that we impose on the muscles, not let your breathing be the weakest link and missing the opportunity to really capitalize on the positive changes we can make to the rest of our body because our intake is clogged or we're not utilizing our breath the right way. So give those things a shot. Most important thing, I think, is even when you're not exercising, just every once in a while, focus on how you're breathing. If you've got 5 seconds to focus on how you're breathing, you've got 5 seconds to make sure that you're breathing the right way, in through the nose, out through the nose. Then you've got 5 seconds to pay attention to how do you feel when that's happening? Do you feel your hands warm up? Do you feel a redistribution of blood in your body? What physical and physiological changes can you pay mind to and notice are starting to shift when you breathe properly in through your nose and out through your nose? You'll find that there's probably enough there to compel you to want to do it more often, and hopefully you'll want to change the way that you breathe when you exercise. So go ahead and give those things a shot. Pay attention to the way that you breathe, in through the nose, out through the nose, and under great exertion. If you can keep your core engaged well enough and your posture somewhat accommodative for that, you're going to realize that you don't have to focus on breathing out through exertion. You can take a much more normalized breathing pattern with you into the gym, and that'll pay itself off in dividends, not just during your workouts, but during the rest of the day and the rest of your life as well. So let me know how it goes. If you've got any questions, let me know. Always happy to answer them. Take care.